Hi, this is Charles Montgomery with another version of 300 Seconds On. Today we're going to talk about the story Boozer by Che and Ho, but in a different way. And the story of the Boozer is just about that. In 11 short pages, it tells the story of a young boy who seems to be in search of his father, but ends up in that search doing an awful lot of drinking. So, I'm going to read those 11 pages, and every place the boy drinks, I'm going to drink, which is why I have brought this. The first line. A small boy's head poked into the tavern. Good evening. The small boy pretended to know the boozers sitting by the door. Most of the boozers didn't pick up on him, but as luck would have it, one man looked his way. Look, hey look, get a load of the kid. And now I'm going to read until he drinks, and then I will have a drink. So I will see you back in a page or two when he has a drink. It took till the top of page 3, but it happened. The boy comes into the tavern pretending he's looking for his father, refuses alcohol at first, which I actually think is a canny strategy, and then is again offered alcohol, and while pretending he does not want that, actually takes a shot of soju and drinks it. A scene which is described as, unnoticed, the boy's hand had slipped out of its Chinese-style sleeve like a larva from its shell. Lifting the drink as deftly as a marketplace pickpocket, he downed it neatly. The shot had been filled to the brim, but the boy downed it without spilling a drop. So, 3 pages in, drink 1, the boozer, Che and Ho. Oh my goodness, now we've run into our first problem, and since about dusk, he had already dropped in at 5 taverns and had the luck to knock off at least 7 drinks. He had put down rotgut soju, biri makgeolli, and even some refined yakju. So rotgut soju just means cheap soju. Makgeolli it's actually a rice beer, but it's called a wine. And yakju is a foreign drink, usually whiskey. So I'm going to drink 7 shots over about the next 15 minutes, and then I'm going to come back. We're going to see how well I could possibly be doing as a young boy going from pochang matcha to pochang matcha in Korea, caging drinks from older drunkards. Drink 1. Notice, I'm already cheating. I did not fill that anywhere near to the top. Drink 2. Oh, rotgut soju sounds about right now. I should keep track of these. That was 2. I should note, for those of you who have not been involved in Korean drinking culture, it is considered extremely rude to pour your own drink, but normally, of course, you don't drink at home alone. And the only reason I could do this particular 300 seconds is I am at home alone. My wife is out of town. Shot 3. Doesn't really taste better than shot 2 did. 4 to go, and I will catch up with the boy. And I should say that the boy, at this time of was written in 1959, and as it turns out, the boy is young, probably 9 or 10. I actually believe they say he's 9. So he probably weighs about 40 kilos. In other words, and I won't shame myself, a lot less than I do. So the amount of drinking that he's doing in relationship to his body mass is, I think, going to turn out epic. But let's see, I have 4 more shots to go before I return to the book and try to even read it. And already I'm starting to have problems. I just knocked the makgeolli, the top to the makgeolli bottle off here, but this is going to be shot 4. I've also removed my glasses because I guess I don't need them. Oh, my goodness, the things I do. Kids out there, don't drink and read. Shot 4 down the hatch. Now, I'm going to assume, all other things being equal, that even at the cheap pochang matcha that this kid is going to, there's anju, which is the food that goes with alcohol. So I'm also going to take a quick break after shot 4 to go and have some more cheese, which they would not have had, and a tortilla, which they would not have had, just to calm my stomach. Okay, I'm back on my expedition to drink as much as Che In Ho's the Boozer. This is the last of the cheese. Great thing. Cheese didn't really used to be around much in Korea, but in the last couple of years it's become quite popular and you can get it everywhere. And some tortilla, which should make it easier for me to drink shot 5 here. And alarmingly, I don't know if you can see, look what's happening with the soju bottle. This kid has almost drank an entire bottle of soju in the course of this afternoon of his. And I'm going to go for 6 right now because then, I think if I remember the story, if I can only get one more down, I wait about 15 minutes. If I can only get one more down, I'll have a little break, as he does, to try to read. So now I'm one shot behind the kid. And again, kid's looking for his dad, who he describes in each bar, Moranju. In each bar he goes to, and in each bar he gets some sympathy, and in each bar he gets a drink. And he's shown to be pretty good at having sort of strategies. Even in the first 3 pages, he pretends it's not what he wants, even though it is in fact the thing that he's there for. So, let me finish chewing this, come back. I'm going to catch up with our little fellow in the boozer, and then we'll go back to reading. Okay. I waited, I ate some more. I'm really feeling quite drunk, and it should become clear why. I've answered the eternal question, how many shots of soju are there in a bottle of one bottle of soju, and that is 7 shots. So the 7th shot I'm about to take, to equal the boy, which added to his first one will be 7, and I can't even do math, 8 shots. Will catch us up by page 3 of an 11-page story, and now I'm a bit alarmed that I'm going to not be able to finish the story. I will be able to finish this bottle of soju. However, the other thing that will give this a little bit of verisimilitude, I said verisimilitude, is that I'm going to have to go to the store. I thought 1 bottle of soju would be enough. I'm going to have to walk down to the store and get another bottle of soju to make this a real test of science. So, I had put my glasses on in anticipation of reading, but I'm going to walk down to the store. That'll give me some time to absorb this in the same way that the boy would have absorbed it as he walked around the neighborhood from Pochung to Pochung, and then we'll get back to this. We'll see precisely how boozed the boozer actually is. Okay, I'm back, and I have, as I promised, another bottle, and I hope it's all I need. But I'm certainly all I can take. I'm alarmed, completely alarmed, because, as I said, I was going to read to read paragraphs to demonstrate what this level of drinking that the story indicates, the effect it would have, again, on a child who's less than half my weight. And I just, before I had to drink those 7 shots, I talked about what he had drunk. This is his next thought after those 7 shots, quote, "That should have been enough for a hungry heat to rise in his throat and his life to leave his head for parts unknown, which my ability to speak is starting to do. And nevertheless, the boy wanted more, as if his stomach were still empty. He was probably good for half a dozen more drinks yet before he found his father." Now here I believe you start to see one of the themes of the story, because he shouldn't be able to predict by how much he drinks whether or not he's going to find an actual father. However, time for me to turn the camera off, read more of the story, come back when the boy drinks again, and report how we're doing, the story, and my brain. Okay, I was scared there for a minute. I got to the bottom of page 5 of this story, and the boy was offered a drink, but it turned out to be either an attempt to kill him or an attempt to rape him, or maybe an attempt to rape or kill him. It's unclear in the translation. So I am now 5 pages in out of 11 and feeling a little better. The drinking seems to come in rather discrete bouts. I'm a little alarmed that after an entire bottle of soju, well, this may not be true. In my head, I seem to be making sense. Comments are welcome at the address that you see below as to how much sense I'm making. But about halfway through, the boy has not had another drink yet, although he has visited another tavern. So let's go over the next 6 pages. Me reading, you and your imagination, as lame as that might be, and we'll see what happens. Some more plot elements revealed, or they've been revealed, and I've just been drinking too seriously to point them out. The boy is claiming that the reason he's finding his father, attempting to find his father, is that his father is dead. And everyone seems to know the boy, so there seems to be an unspoken agreement. And then the third thing is the boy seems to be, as happens, remember at the bottom of page 5, I hoped I wasn't going to be drinking again soon. Well, page 6 soon put paid to that. He is an expert at, I guess, while he's talking, drinking other people's soju, just shooting it really fast and putting it down. So I have to have one more drink, and then I will read that passage to you. Oh no, I have to find him today. Mother is dying. Just now I saw her throwing up blood and came running right out. She threw up dark red blood from her mouth and lay down. She said to me in a little voice to go find father and bring him home. If I just find father, mother can get better. This is a boy talking to the bar. The very next paragraph. The boy seized the... it's happening. The boy seized the perfect moment and, neat as you please, picked up a shot glass from the table and then smartly emptied it into his mouth. Like this. Within about 15 seconds or 30 seconds or however long it takes to sing one part of a ballad, he so entrances the crowd that they're not paying attention, and he does something unbelievable. He pours himself another drink, and he drinks it. So at this point, you're getting two senses. One, the crowd he's with is totally blotto, and second, he is also starting to lose his sense of his position in society, whatever that might be. It's already become clear that his father in somehow is related to his drinking of soju, and his mother's death may be a story intended to get sympathy, but let's see, I have to drink that shot that the boy stole. I dropped back in, thank God, not to have to drink again, but for another plot point. At that same tavern where the boy was threatened, he is threatened again, and he escapes. And as he leaves, this passage. The market street was already completely empty. Steamy white vapor was escaping from below his nose and melting away into the darkness. The hiccups hadn't stopped, and luckily he was still alive. It seemed he had drunk more than usual. All the same, he had not overdone it. He stood close in front of a cold wall and unbuttoned himself. Since he was dressed in as many layers as he could, alcohol, you devil. As he could manage, it was difficult to rummage around inside that incubator. While he peed, he began to sing. So, he has started in the first tavern, he has gone through several taverns, he has stayed in that one tavern where his life was threatened several times, but he got at least 2 drinks, probably 3. I am not taking drinks where they just suggested he had drinks, because if I did, I would not have a job or a life in the morning. So, this is with only 2 pages, 3 pages to go, and he's already had as many drinks as I'm pointing at down there, because I can no longer keep count. I'm starting to lose my ability to speak, and it's a young boy walking through the landscape of post-war Korea. Our narrator seems to be done. He's heading back home. He asks himself in his mind in this story is indicated by italics, what could father be doing while mother is heading towards her death? And he actually admits that he's beginning to totter. But he notices at the end of the street a Market Street drunk who is already unconscious, laying sleeping where he had laid himself down. And by the way, you can still see this in Korea. It's not necessarily considered poor form in the same way it is in the West to drink and then lay down and take a nap. What the boy does next is considered extremely poor form. The boy approached slowly and peered into the drunkard's face, then began to rifle through his pockets. The boy went about his task without hesitation, while thinking the man would probably freeze to death before daybreak. Charming young child. His outer coat pockets were empty. Out of the left pocket came a few cigarette butts and a half-eaten piece of and a half-eaten piece of Polak, and out of the right pocket just 2 streetcar tickets. The boy then began to search the man's inner coat pocket. I don't know how this boy could drink this much. The boy's breathing turned rough, and he extracted 2 notes. With those still in his hand, he set off again. His heart began to leap in anticipation of more drink. With these 2 paper bills, he could have a couple more shots of cheap soju, and he knew well the effect they would have on him, those 2 shots of soju, that he would drink fair and square without groveling. He knew, too, that wings, reference the Nalgay, perhaps, Isang, would sprout painlessly from his side and make him light as a bird. So he goes to a tavern that he knows, says he sniffs the scent of liquor, he enters, and let's see how much he drinks. So as it turns out, the boy actually, he finds 2 won. Now in Korea, what we would in the United States consider $1, or in Canada a goose or a ducky or a wucky or whatever, is 1,000 won. So a won note is essentially a penny. At this time, the economy was different and whatever. But he realizes with this money, he can actually go someplace and buy drinks. And so he goes to some place where he's also well known, and he purchases 2 shots, and the woman, quote, filled the shot glass generously full. So I shall do that. See, I've already got the hiccups, which the story had predicted. So he takes 2 more shots. By the way, the shot glass that I'm using here, that you see here, is the standard size of the shot glass in Korea. Has been in all the time I've known Korea, or Koreans even in the United States, so I'm presuming that this is a fair judgment. This is perhaps filled too much. Ah, God. Now I think I've drunk all he's drunk. The woman who has seen him before and has served him before ends their conversation with goodbye and don't come back, but of course it's a lie. The father is unfound. The mother is still dying, except for the final passage where the boy walks. At the top of the slope stood the orphanage. The lights were out, and by now the children would be sleeping with their bodies rolled up as tightly as possible into little balls to ward off the cold. One kid would be grinding his teeth in his sleep, and another, as he did every night, would be fretting for fear of the dark. Now, see, this is part of why I'm doing this, because this boy, I can barely read, and reading is one of my skills, and I can barely talk, and talking is one of my skills. The boy. At any rate, on this dark night, where is father really? He staggered for a moment, but he wasn't one to get so drunk that he forgot where the dog hole was in the barbed wire fence through which he had snuck out. He was concerned for a moment whether he could crawl safely through the velvet darkness into the bedding, still warm with his body heat, without getting caught by the governess. But he could himself... Don't drink and read! But he put himself in the care of his typical easygoing optimism, a peculiarity of boozers. From the bottom of the slope blew a wind laden with the smell of cold dust. He sniffed at it like a hunting dog, and set his teeth as he decided, I'll be finding father tomorrow, for sure. Now, I'm actually going to have to say that I'm impressed that I drank a bottle of soju, and I don't know how to show this, and that much more, and I can still read that. Or it's a sign that I should sign... Or I'm drunk. Or it's a sign that I'm definitely drunk. Or it's an indication Or it's an indication I should sign myself into rehab tomorrow. However, do not worry. Tomorrow I will be meeting Barry from Seoul ABC, and we shall not be drinking, and I will not be doing this crazy experiment. But it's been a grand pleasure reading The Boozer by Che In-ho from the collection Land of Exile. Land of Exile was put together by two great translators, Bruce and Juchan Fulton, who I count as one translator because they're married, and Marshall R. Peel, who is one of the early translators of Korean literature.